Future Angela here. Before getting into this week's vlog, I wanted to bring to everyone's attention the Blackout Buddy Read. Books with Shay is doing our community such a service. This is such an emotionally intensive thing she's choosing to do for our community. So I'm going to have that announcement video up in the cards, down in the description. Stop watching this and go watch that. We need to, all of us, become better members of our community, and part of that is education, and that is what she's providing for us, and I cannot thank her more, because as you guys all know, I'm a teacher, and education is just so important. If you want things to change, you have to understand why they're broken to begin with. And on that note, I also will have a lot of petitions and donation links into the description if you want to do more active things, which you should. You should try and figure out what you can do to help your community, because that's what's being hurt right now, our community. There are people who are unsafe because of the color of their skin, and it's just not okay. And that's what I wanted to say. I think you guys should all check out this announcement. We are so lucky to have someone in our community who's putting in this work for us. And with that, I hope you guys will go check out that announcement video, donate your time and money in any way that you can. All right? And now, past Angela. It's the start of the vlog, but also you get to see Delilah, which never happens. So, hi, welcome to the start of the vlog. This is Lila. She's not very camera friendly. She doesn't like to be held, but here she is. She's my baby. And so, reading plans. My short story collection for the week is Exhalation by Ted Chiang. This is sci-fi short stories, and I've read the first 3, and man, seems like the cohesive theme of this is free will. So far, the thesis is it's not real, but it's been approached from very interesting angles, and I'm really liking it. It also speaks to my physicist brain, because one of the ways it's approached is via thermodynamics and entropy and the idea of macro and micro states. And if you haven't taken thermodynamics, or it's been a long time, the idea is that everything is going towards a state of entropy. You can't prevent chaos, sort of thing, is for the most part, because you always have to put more energy into the system to undo the chaos. And as people have always said, right, energy can't be created or destroyed, so there's a finite amount of energy. So yeah, it's just really cool, and I'm geeking out a little bit. And I've also been continuing City of Miracles, which I started in my last vlog, so I'll have that up in the cards for you, and I'm still really liking it. This is very much my action movie book of the week. It has that type of pacing. It's reminding me a lot of Born Identity sort of thing, where you have a mystery and there's a bunch of action that's done by the main protagonists. And it's the 3rd book in the Divine Cities trilogy, which I also went into briefly in my previous vlog, but it's essentially these 3 stories set in this world where the gods used to exist, but they're gone. And that should mean that there are no more miracles, but somehow there still are, and that tends to be surrounding some sort of murder mystery. So the characters are learning about the world, its magic, by trying to solve these mysteries, and it's really kind of fun. And yeah, so this is the 3rd and last one, and I'm having a great time. Also, the Author Foundry side, which I know is a booktube darling right now, so also one I like. So I'm not saying it shouldn't be a darling, it's just in case you wanted more works by that author. It's pretty good. And still listening to Radium Girls, which I also started in the last vlog. Still angry. I finished part 1 today. I haven't listened to an audiobook this fast in a long time. I tend to like nonfiction audiobooks more than fiction. I don't know why. I think it's because my podcasting lends itself to nonfiction too. And like I mentioned in my last vlog, it's like watching I don't know, an accident or bad news, and it's just, you can't stop watching. And I don't really know what the rest of the book's about, because I'm curious, because part 1's very much the setup. You have the girls, they're in the factories, they're using radium, they're putting the paintbrushes in their mouth, which is, yeah. And we're discovering this disease, and we're identifying the radium poisoning as a disease, and it's coming to light. And it's finally, at the end of this part, it's radium poisoning is real. These girls are all getting sick in all of these different ways because of radium. And now I'm like, there's 2 more parts. Like, I'm only a third of the way through the book, maybe only 36%. I'm like, what are we doing next? It's probably more injustice. It's probably going to make me still angry. Like, it feels like a different world. There are sentences in this book, and it's like, and then they took the radium powder, just the extra, and they put it in, like, sandboxes for children. There were children in America who played in sandboxes with radium. Like, goodness. Like, it's just hard for me to believe, because I feel like a lot of our nuclear pop culture now is centered more around, what we learned from the bombing. It's very much nuclear power, nuclear weapons are negative. We don't have this positive connotation for radiation. So to have this weird positive connotation in our history that I never really looked into is just really weird. So yeah, those are the things I'm reading. If I finish any of these up, I don't know what I'll read. I'm leaning towards maybe The Lightning Thief, because I've been promised by my sib that that's very short, but we will see. It'll depend, honestly, on when I finish City of Miracles, because that's when I'll pick up my next Kindle read. I'm planning on reading Exhalation. Like, I've read a lot of the short stories, 1 or 2 a day, pretty slowly throughout the week. So yeah, that's the check-in for this one, and I'll see you in a bit. Alright, so reading has happened. I have finished City of Miracles. Wonderful ending to that trilogy. I don't think it's my favorite book in the trilogy. I think City of Blades for sure is. My biggest complaint was I wanted more character relationship development. They started with it, and I was like, oh yes, I want this so much. And then it just became more action scenes, which were fun. Like, I don't think there were huge pacing issues. Things were always happening, but I wanted more character relationship development, and I felt like if I'd had that, the ending would have been even more impactful. Like, it was still really good, but yeah. So for some reason I can't not compare this trilogy to the Inheritance trilogy. They're both trilogies about divinities and gods and their relationship with people and society. They're both about oppressed areas of the earth. They both have books with different point of view characters, and they both take place over longer periods of time, although the Inheritance trilogy is on the scale of hundreds of years, whereas this is on the scale of 20 to 30 years. And the ending of the Inheritance trilogy, although I think on average I enjoyed the individual books of this one better, that ending for the Inheritance trilogy was just so cathartic, especially with that 10-page short story that's at the end that's called Not the End. It's not in the omnibus, and I don't know why. I checked at the bookstore. So if you read the Inheritance trilogy, just know that it's only at the end of the 3rd book on its own. So yeah, but still very good. And I am this far in Exhalation. I only have 2 short stories yet, and I'm kind of saving them. They're so good. Since I last talked, I read The Life Cycle of Software Objects, which this is the novella. So it's over 100 pages, and I spent an afternoon consuming that. And I think that was the moment where I'm like, okay, Ted Chiang, you are now a sci-fi author I trust, and I really like, because he has a way of approaching sci-fi things that make it realistic, but you're not depressed either. It's not to the extreme of what Black Mirror does to you, but it's still melancholy at times. Yeah, and so that story, you have these thing called, gosh, I'm blanking on the name, Digis or something? Digiants, which are essentially Neopets. At least that's what my brain did. If you ever played, you know what I mean. But basically a lot of people spend a lot of time in different virtual worlds, kind of like World of Warcraft, but even bigger. You could go into a world to I don't know, watch movies or sports with people with your little avatar. You're not there, but that was a little weird for me. But in there you have, your Digiants who you raise from a child, and at first it's really popular, and then it maybe dies out, and so it's about this life cycle of a software object, just like anything we have in software. Everything has its peaks and lows, but in this case we have these AI life forms, and it's about their progression, it's about the human's relationship with them. It was really good. And also the other one I really loved that I'd read recently is The Truth of Fact, The Truth of Feeling. I think I might have to reread that one. It was, it's about our relationship with memory and technology, and how that changes our interpretation of self and culture. I had 2 perspectives. One where you have this high-tech thing where you have perfect recall, and the author is well, the narrator is exploring the pros and cons of that, because as it's known today, our memories are imperfect, even for things you swear happened a certain way. Chances are it's actually not true. But because you remember it that way, you have a certain identity about you, and that organic memory is different from precise, perfect memory. And this was contrasted with a tribe that one of the people was learning how to write. So instead of oral history, there's this potential for written history, and how that changes things. It was so good. I don't know. There's so many, like, those two stories were so quality. I might have to do deeper dives for myself, and if I like that enough, maybe I will share it with you. But I have 2 short stories left. I think one of them is nominated as a novelette or a short story for the Hugos. I don't know. I haven't been looking that up. I've just been having a great time. I need to get my hands on his other short story collection. I need to steal this book from my boyfriend for my shelves because I love it a lot. And since I finished City of Miracles, I started Disappearing Earth. This is my book club book, so we talk the second Tuesday of the month, which I guess we're doing it online now, so I guess if anyone's interested, let me know. We're running low on registration spaces, but if you've read this book and you want to talk about it with people, let me know. I actually do like co-moderate it because I love books, if you haven't noticed. But this one, man, if you're new here, I go to my book club to read books outside of my comfort genres. So this is a fiction that was nominated as a Booker finalist, and it takes place, I'm going to call it contemporary because it takes place now in a portion of Russia. And I don't want to spoil anything, but the synopsis spoils it, so I went in blind. So the first chapter was a ride. And I do want to mention, I guess, the trigger warning, content warning for child abduction. That's kind of the center of this story, but I didn't know that going in. But it's about this community, and each chapter is a different month. At least they're labeled different months, and we go through the different perspective of someone in the community. And it's really good. So, like, I'm like 4 chapters in, and we've had a different perspective each time. And not only does it go with their relationship around, I'm living in a small community where this abduction happened, but it also, like, it explores that person's own personal life. And I'm just really enjoying all of these perspectives and little snippets. It's like these tiny little short stories within this one longer story, if that makes sense. And yeah, the narrative voice is really good. Like, this happens quite often where it's like, I would have never picked this book up. I don't peruse fiction releases very often. I'm a fantasy sci-fi girl, and it's so good. I am really loving the writing style and the content, and there's a fair bit of, like, stress at times. Yeah, it's really good. So those are the things I've wrapped up and things that I'm still planning to read. I'm just really excited to finish Exhalation and Disappearing Earth, and still working on Radium, girls. We are now in a phase where we're going through the trials, so now we just get to be angry at this corporation for being scums. And it's great, although we still keep learning about more terrifying ways radium poisoning can work. But yeah, that's where I've been at. And yeah, and Kayla from Cracking Into a Good Book and I have just been discussing her Olympics, or Read the Olympics readathon. I know there's a Percy Jackson Olympics readathon out there, but this is different. And guys, there's some real good prompts. It's gonna be a great time. I'm just helping out. It's totally Kayla's, but I just, get excited. I love the Olympics. I'm happy they're postponed because they should be, but I am going to miss seeing them because it's a fun time. I love watching that silly, like, kayaking event, like, where it's like an obstacle course. I don't know what that's called, but it's my favorite thing to watch when they throw it on, because they're like, well, we don't have swimming or running or gymnastics, so here's kayaking. Anyways, I will check in once I've finished some more things. Needy boy needs the pets. He's really cute. Alright, so I have finished Exhalation. And my boyfriend won't let me steal it. He keeps reminding me we're gonna live together next year, so it'll, like, be in the apartment, but, like, I love this so much. So the last 2 stories actually probably weren't, like, my favorites, but I still would put them as like I really, really liked them. So the second to last one, Omphalos, really explores what if we were on a world where like the creationism theory, it held some truth or something. And what happens though when more research makes you question that you weren't the reason for creationism? Like, what does that mean for you and your motivations? That was really like an interesting thing. And then the last one, what was it called? It was Anxiety is the Dizziness of Freedom. I don't actually quite know why that's the title, and I'll have to think about it, but it was a really interesting story where there are these prisms, and if you activated a prism and you made a decision, you would split off a branch. So you would have a connection to a branch where, say, like for a job, say you in one location you took the job and the other one you didn't, and then you could communicate with your, I think they called them paraselfs, and you could see how the branches diverge. And it questions a lot about, like, what's the point of making a decision if someone in a different branch is just going to make the opposite decision? And it was really interesting, and you looked at it through different lenses. I wish I was a little more awake when I read it. I think I was running out of steam and motivation, and because my anxiety's been a little higher lately, so focus has been short, but it was still really compelling and good. And yeah, I just really love the short story collection. I think I was going to buy his other one today. Yeah, you heard me. I was going to buy it, which, if you're new here, that's not a thing I do, like, often. Although, I think because of my anxiety and depression, I might be purchasing more things than normal. But, so, there's a new cover, I think, coming up for that first story collection. I like it a lot, and so it's not going to be out till July, so maybe I'll just hold off till July. It's not that I don't have like 12 books on my Kindle I need to read or anything. And I finished Disappearing Earth, and I decided that the constant change of point of views got old and frustrating because I kept getting so invested in each character, which is like a testament to how good this writer is. But then I wouldn't get to stay there. I wanted to see the conclusion of these stories, but I think it was a choice. It was definitely intentional how every chapter ended, how even the story ended. You are left to make your own conclusions, and sometimes you're given little pieces to help you know if you were right or wrong, but you don't get catharsis. And I think that's an intentional choice, which, like, it's still a great book. Like, I still rated it pretty highly. It's just, I need to read another book by this author, or maybe they just write a whole story about, like, a more condensed cast of characters. Because gosh, there were so many of these side plots that I just wanted to sit in. But I really did like it. I would recommend it. It was funny because my moderator for the book clubs, I didn't want to do a short story collection that I recommended, but I'm like, no, we should do a short story collection. And this is a short story collection by accident. It really is. It does not read traditionally like a complete novel whatsoever. I am very interested to see how this discussion wraps up because yeah, I just don't. It's going to be interesting because people are going to be very confused about all the different characters. I think that has happened in the past, but I am excited too because I really did enjoy this book. It was a welcome surprise for me. So yeah, those are the things I read. Still reading Radium Girls. Is that what it's called? I'm pretty sure it's called Radium Girls. I also a couple years ago read a book called The City of the Atomic Girls or something like that. I get a lot of these things confused. You'll have an image, but I will wrap that up more in next week's vlog because I haven't really listened to more since I last checked in, which I am actually going to go on a walk soon. So I'll have consumed more, but this is the end of this vlog, and I hope desperately that you guys are having a reasonable week. Totally understand if you haven't, and if you need anything, please reach out and let me know. Other than that, I really do hope you have a good evening, or morning, or afternoon, whenever you consume this. Bye.